Greetings! Welcome. I'm back. Why is that changing? I'm back apparently to fix first this button up top that is changing modes incorrectly. What variable do I put 3? But mode 1D is active. Why was...
Hi!
Greetings, Con and Lojo. Welcome. Happy Friday. Okay, so in addition, I need buttons that I can push to turn the modes on and off and to set it to a particular mode. And I need to see if I can turn a button on. So let's pull up the Sammy document. Okay, so I've got documentation for Sammy right here. So a lot of times when I've been going off to the side and typing in things, what I'm looking at is this documentation, which is basically just the API for that Sammy program that lists off all the things that you can do inside the entire program. Now, what I am looking for is specifically being able to shut off a button with another button. Let's go to Google. Can disable shut off a button by using another button, by using the command block button, or by setting up a conditional trigger that disables a button based on the state of another button or variable. Okay. Block button. So there's a command that should be block button. So I should be able to type in block button, block button / group. Block check. Block a button, uncheck, unblock a button. Allow queue. Okay. So I can specifically turn off the button that is switching the top bar. Got it. So I'm going to make a new deck of controls. Probably won't need a whole lot of buttons here. That one needs to be. That one needs to be. Okay, so we're gonna make a button called Stop Changer. We're gonna make a button called Set 1. Second mode 3. Okay. We'll save that deck. just like that. Color code these buttons so that I know what they are. I don't want to have to do a lot of worrying about toggles right now. Yeah. This is more accurately going to be stop timer, stop top timer. Switch to mode 1. Or switch mode 1 on. That's what these will do. Okay. Set mode. That looks better. Switch. This is switch. Mode. Now, this is what I need to make. I would like to have a button that can change the text. Button. Okay. Button change. Okay, the modified button function and referencing another button style. Okay, so let's duplicate this tab. We're looking for the modified button. Modified button object, button group from an object. And you use a JSON format. Okay, so with that in mind, I can make a button that tells me which modes are active and allows me to switch them on or off. This sounds lovely. Okay. So, no, save. I need to be able to pull mode. So mode is going to be here. Target mode D and current mode. So current mode D is what those buttons are going to be. So this button is switch. One on. Mode 1 toggle. I'm going to change the name of it. It's going to be mode 1 toggle. And the first thing this button needs to do is to get a button variable from that other thing. Oh my gosh, my memory is dead. What is it called? Where is it? Oh yes, hey, mode decider. Ha! I'm like, it's not active because I turned music off. Oh no, wait, I put it in do not touch. Right. Mode decider. Mode decider. Mode D, save as mode 1. Okay. So the first thing it does, it gets the current mode variable. I don't need the current mode variable. This is not the variable that this button is switching. Okay. About to grab the wrong variables here. I need this variable, mode 1 active. Active. E. That's what I need. That variable. And this is just going to be a toggle on or off, so I need an if statement. If mode 1 active T is on, I'm going to set a button variable and turn it off. Turn it off. Otherwise, very simple, to the point. We grab the variable, we drop it in there. If it's active, on, turn it off. If it's off, turn it on. So if it's on, we turn it off. If it's anything else, we turn it on. Simple. One simple little if statement controls the button. Now we do something fancy. I need to look at this button's variables. Okay, so let's see. Get button color, get button text. Lovely. Do I have set for those things? I can get the color in the text, but how can I set the color? Set button variable hidden. Back to the wiki. Okay. Why are you linking to the page that you're already on? Okay, let's take a look here. Whole button page here. Check button, modify button group. That color. The button will return to its original state if you reset or close and reopen. Okay, so I should make the original state of the button gray so that I know the button is active when the color activates on it. And then when Sammy starts up, it'll turn colors to let me know which ones are going. Okay. Save this. Okay. Just make this grayscale. And then we're going to change the text on it to mode 1 toggle. And then we'll change the text and the color depending on what's going on inside the button. That. So. I need a way for this button to run automatically that is independent on whether or not the button push was pushed. I want this button to check for itself. I would use the constructor to do that, I think. We're going to go back over here to the constructor. And I'm going to turn these off. And with this, I'm not going to leave those. So these are the main functions of this button. Let's put some comments on here. Set. Set. That's what that is. Here we're going to put a start timer. So that's what that does. That works. But right here, need another variable here. Set a local variable. That is first active. Need statement if first active is equal to 1, something is not equal to 1. If first active is equal to 1, what do we need to do? We need to That would have caused the problem right there, that lowercase t. So, if it's the first time it's ran, we're not going to be updating anything. We're only going to be setting the conditions of the button. Modify. Good ID, mode 1 toggle. Active, we're going to set the color. Exactly. One new line. New line is backslash. Okay. So, first active is true. It's going to go in here. It's going to check if mode 1 is active. If it is, we're going to change the button to mode 1 is on. And if it's not, we're going to change the button to mode 1 is off. And we're going to change the color to green and red, respectively. Okay, and then this one, mode 1 is active. We're going to turn it to copy green. Right here, we're going to paste green, we're going to do that. Copy red, and right here, we're going to paste red where we do that. Bam. Now, we need to take care of that first active variable because it's never going to change. We don't need to hold any variables. Okay. This button does not need persistent variables. That should take care of that. And I never need to declare first active because Sammy declares variables in the background. Okay, so now if I put this on here, go over here to the descriptor. I need this to set a button variable on what am I calling that button? I know it can't be empty. This is called mode 1 toggle. Okay. I'm going to set a button variable on 1. Then we're going to call the mode 1 toggle button. Typo's gonna murder me. Okay, okay. Now, just so we can see this, when I run this button, mode 1's off. It doesn't like my thing, but now when I click this button, mode 1 is on, mode 1 is off. Look at that! It toggles and everything. Okay. It doesn't like this. So can I just do this? Yes, okay. Like that. For these. But I can just copy this. This is not going to be awful. This is going to be awful. That. Go ahead, change all the ones to a 2, except for these ones that are supposed to be there. And done. Make sure I change all the ones to a 3. Save that. Okay. Ooh. 7, 9, and 11. It's not liking that first stack. Save that. Stack goes there. Oh, no, I think I don't know what to say. Trying to set a variable in a non-existent button. I'm fairly certain that these buttons exist. It was fixed until I noticed that there was an issue that I might sometimes need to manually switch this mode around. And so I'm having to install manual controls for it. Because as you see right now, the music isn't playing, but it's switching between mode 1 and 3 because it thinks that mode 1 is active when it shouldn't be active. And I realized that at the end of the stream, if mode 1 is active, there is nothing anywhere that will allow me to switch mode 1 off without turning the music on and off again. So I need manual controls to flip those switches in there to turn things on and off. So that's what I'm building right now. But it's telling me that this button doesn't exist. I don't know why it's telling me this button doesn't exist, because the button's right here. It's specifically pointing at this line. Trying to set a variable in a non-existent button. Is there wording of that wrong? No, it's right. Why is it saying the button doesn't exist? That never changes the name of the button. Okay. Do a restart, turn that off. Back on. Trying to set a variable in a non-existent button. But the button exists. Okay. Google. error message needs a... These are referencing the wrong button. Yeah, it's not the error, but it's a error. Different error. That toggles on and off. Those only toggle on. That's why. This number. Okay. Now these buttons are actually working properly. It doesn't change why the constructor can't see these buttons, but the toggle's working because I've changed all the numbers of trophies. And I should be able to go here now and verify that they are working, and they are. Mode 1 on, off, mode 2 on, off, mode 3 on, off. And so when the stream starts, it should, I want it to automatically go here, find out what's active, and then the button should be set to off, off, on, just like that. Just a variable and non-existent button. Why is it a non-existent button? I mean, checking the scope would be great if there was a way to check the scope. Greetings, lady. Welcome, welcome. I am having scope issues, apparently. All this. Switches. This is deck switch. Oh, switches. Even. Switches. Switches with an E. Switches has an E in it. whatever. Anyway. Hmm. I am not sure if I'm hurting Khan's thinky parts. I have not seen Khan post anything for a minute, so it's possible his thinky parts have melted. I'm hurting my thinky parts because this is right, but it's not working. It says button doesn't exist, but button does exist. Button is right here. This is button existing. This is button name. And here's button name. Matches. Button not exist. Doesn't make any sense. Why does button not exist? Okay. We want to set button variable. Bam. We want to set this button variable. And then we can delete that one because that one doesn't work, right? Right. Button non-existent button. I don't know why it says the button doesn't exist when the button clearly exists. Let's see how much the button exists. Let's copy the button. The button now exists right here. Big button. It won't let me set a button. It won't let me set a button variable from that. I don't know why. Anytime I try to do it, it says that the button doesn't exist. Do I need to make a millisecond delay here? No, it says that the button doesn't exist. It's not even looking to see if the button exists. It's just deciding that the button doesn't exist without checking for it. I know the button exists. The button is right freaking there. Sammy is hurting my thinky parts because it's not working. And now I know that it's nothing to do with the placement of the button. It's not a scope issue. It's specifically that button that won't call out. Button ID, button variable, but it's not getting back this part. pull the files. Sammy is here on the desktop. Error log. Command 7. Alerts. Button ID 7. Command name if statement. Command line 7. Okay, so they're in this order. These are just fatal crashes. So it's not actually telling me anything about the error that it's having right now. These are the crashes that happened yesterday. Okay, so trying to set a variable in a non-existent button. What does that mean? It exists. Okay, well, go to the Sammy Discord. They usually respond fairly quickly. Let's see if I can get a help ticket going here. Yep, in that last If you guys want to see what I'm doing, this is what I'm doing. However, I am getting this error. Really? It won't let me paste in here, or am I? Okay. Okay. Apparently that's just the title that I need to make up there. Non-existent button error. Okay. I am trying to set a button variable from another button, but I am getting the error this. Button. does exist, but it's in a different deck, and the names are. And before I post, I'm gonna double check that the names are correct and that the capitalization is correct. And I've copied it a bunch of times, so it absolutely should be. Not in this button, but in this one. Right. Open, unresolved, and it's a core issue. Post. Okay. So, now I'm gonna wait for this to ding while I continue to try and debug this myself. So I know this is working, it's just the initial call to it that's not working. That better not be what's doing it. Are you kidding me? They won't let you call a button if it doesn't have persistent variables on. What? What? Never mind, solve the issue. Which means I have to now build extra logic into the button. Okay, so I have to build extra logic into the button. To check if it's being passed something, and if it's the first time it's being passed. Lovely. Why don't you just let me pass a variable to a function, like every programming language can do? Right? The functions don't have to hold the variables. This is a custom language that I believe is built on top of JSON, which is built on top of JavaScript. Because a lot of the backend code and everything, when I'm changing settings and stuff, like where am I changing all of the settings? In the music thing, I'm changing settings. Not here. Not here. Yeah, this right here. This is JSON formatting. So I believe this is built on top of JSON, which is built on top of JavaScript. But in most programming languages, like when you write a function, you get function name, and it looks something like this. And then you get like brackets, like here. And function does stuff here, right? So typically you get functions like this, and if you need to declare a variable inside of the function, you would declare a variable like this. And then the function would use the variable in here. But this parentheses right here is for catching a variable. Like that. A lot of times when you call a function, you just call it like this in the code. But occasionally you can take this and do this. And what this is called passing a variable. So now, instead of just calling this function and let the function come and do its own thing, I can call this function and I can send it the number 21. And the function, if it has a variable name listed right here, it can catch that 21 and shove it into that variable so that this function can then use that variable. And likewise, we can return something back. And that is when this function is done and over, it's going to send, in this case, the number 0 back to wherever this function was called from. So you could say other variable equals a function call. And then the function will run, and then it'll pass like 0 back, and then 0 will be stored in that other variable, right? Passing information back and forth between functions is fundamental for programming. It is not something you can inherently do inside of SAMI. In order for you to do this functionality in SAMI, you have to tell SAMI to go into the function before the function is running and change a variable in there. So what that would be doing would be, I would be having a line of code right here that is telling the computer, I need to go into this function and set this variable to something, and then I call the function and run the function with the new information inside. It's a really backwards and archaic way to do it. Why I can't just pass information to and from buttons, I don't know. But because it's set up this way, I need this button to run differently when it's pushed and differently when it's called. So in order to do that, I'm going to have to set up a variable, or called, and every time the button is called from somewhere else, I'm going to have to do another check to see if the button is being called or if it's being pushed. And I'm going to have to make that persistent, and I'm going to have to erase it at the end of every button call so that it's fresh for the next button call and doesn't just default into the last thing the button did. So I'm having to add a lot of logic in here to compensate for just not being able to pass the button variables. Yeah. Okay, so I'm just gonna call this button called. If button called is true, do this. If it's not true, do that. And right, just clear clear local variable button pause. Bam, just like that. It's not a whole lot that I have to do. But it's the figuring out that I have to do that is the painful part of the process. Okay. Bam. Now, oh, it's just calling them because I didn't change this. And I didn't change this. Okay. Is that accurate? Right hand check. Why are these incorrect now? What is changing that? Why can't things just work? Okay. Node decider. Node 1 active. Getting the active mode right now. Node 1 active. If the button is being called, true. Go in here, and if the mode is active, which is mode 1, set it to on, the mode is not active, we set it to all. If the button is not being called and the mode is active, we set the mode to all and we turn the button off. If the mode is not active, we set the mode to on, we turn the button on, and then we delete the button called variable at the end of the button. Nothing here should change anything on buttons 2 or 3. Okay, now we're going to check for the same thing on buttons 2 and 3. Down. Hit the active mode. If the button is being called, we're going to check and see if the active mode is equal to 2, in this case. No, it's true false, that's right. If the active mode 2 is on, we change the button to green. If it's not on, we change the button to off. Otherwise, if the button is not being called, we check if the active mode is true. If it is, we turn it off and we change the button to off. If it's not, we turn it on and we change the button to on. And at the end of the thing, we call button 2. Done. Okay. So, we get the active mode from the mode decider. If the button is being called, go in here, and if the mode 3 is on, alright, here's where it is changing the wrong thing. We set the button for mode 3 on, and if it's not on, we set the button off. Booyah. Now, to test this, I'm going to need to manually set the mode without changing these buttons. Should be able to do it just by running this button. Now, when I run the constructor, says all 3 modes are active, but all 3 modes should not be active. Yeah, this is nice, peaceful music from Mario Party 2. Okay. Now I can see all 3 buttons. When I run this, it adequately changes this to what modes are on or off. Okay. Back here, and now I can switch these modes on and off. See, it's changing the variables right there. Lovely. So now I have my mode on off switches made. Yes. Now I need to build a switch. And I need the switch to take a look at what is currently active on the scene. What is the best way to do this? What I would be passing in here is target map. To mode 1. I need to set the button. Mode. And then call that button. Mode decider. Then I'm gonna set the mode 1 button variable. It's almost working. So there is a problem back in the mode decider that is making it not actively switch to the correct mode. And that problem is right here, these variables. Because this mode of instantiating variables doesn't work in this program. Herein lies the problem. I have no way to instantiate a variable in order to perform this action of making sure that the variables are set to a particular thing on the first time. If I just set the variables on there, it'll pass the information, and then as soon as the button is called, it'll overwrite the information with these new values. So I need to make sure that the button knows when it's being called the first time to set default values and when it's being called any subsequent time. But in order to do that, I need a variable inside the button to let me know how many times the button has been called. But that variable can't exist inside the button because it will be overwritten every time the button is called. So that variable has to exist in a separate button that both of these buttons are referencing. We have a box. Fan the bot. Fan the bot. So, do I really have to make a button that just holds variables? Because for some reason they won't let me play with global variables in Sammy. I know the level of programming that it takes to create a program like this, but on the same note, there are basic fundamentals of programming that are missing from this program that I have to do a lot of work in order to implement. Like having to create an entirely new button just to hold variables because I can't instantiate variables for the first time inside of a button. That is mind-boggling to me. Because this line right here doesn't compute to Sammy. I can't check to see if a variable exists. I can only check the value of the variable. So I think I'm gonna just have to wrap the entire thing, everything that this button does, inside of this if statement in order to make this work. That should work. well, that's working. So if I can do it like that. I won't have to change the current mode. I can just pass in target mode and it should work. Okay, so target mode is coming in. We're going to be coming in with only the third one. If off your active, rotate to the next mode. Corner 3 your active, rotate. 2 and 3 your active, rotate. Okay, so should I be calling top changer instead of anticipator? I mean, it's doing something, but it's not doing what it's supposed to be doing. How did this break between yesterday and today? Those both exist. But it's not grabbing the variables with the button. Okay. just passing a 3-3. But it's not passing it because it can't do that. It shouldn't matter what the current mode is, as long as the target mode is being changed. Am I calling the wrong variable here? I am. This is target mode D. Okay, there it goes. Okay, I need to make that button not call that other button because these are manuals. Okay. Pulling up. Okay. We're on mode 1. Switch to mode 2. Switch to mode 3. Switch to mode 1. Switch to mode 3. Switch to mode 2. Switch to mode 3. Switch to mode 1. Switch to mode 2. Okay, my buttons work. all of my switches are now working. So I can manually set things up. So I need these two off and I need to be in mode 3. Bam. So when things are not working, I can just come in here, boop, 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 and switch things, and I don't have to come over here and edit things in OBS to do it. I now have buttons that can do it. When the timer button is going crazy, stupid, out of control, that's the next thing. I can block or stop a button. Okay, so button. Stop a button or group. So stopping a button or a group of buttons seems like a good idea. Stop all buttons This would be useful to turn off queues if somebody or some people are spamming a bunch of redeems over and over and over in chat. I could use this to shut that off. That seems like something I probably should implement. Right now, we're going to use the stop button to stop the timer button. And this is stop button for the group. Stop timer. If I'm going and stop. There, save that. Click over here. Okay, now I'm gonna go run the top timer button a bunch of times. So now top timer should be running like crazy. And then if I switch on another mode, top timer should catch that. Start swapping back and forth. Or it did not catch that? Okay, so now it's going crazy. When it's going crazy, I hit this button and it shuts it off. Just like it did. Oh, but it didn't. So this command doesn't work. Well, that's nice to know. Let's make sure I've got things named correctly. I do. So this doesn't actually stop the button. Okay. So they've got something implemented here that doesn't function like it says on the 10. How about block button? Okay, so we're gonna wait for it to switch again, and then we're gonna run, and now it should stop. Okay, so I'm gonna need to duplicate this. Start it back. I mean, that should start it. No, that just unblocks it. It doesn't restart it. Okay, so I need to actually call the button. That'll start it back. Then when I click that, that should shut it off. So in theory, I could turn this into one button to just reset the top timer when it starts going crazy. I don't need a start and stop. I need a reset. So that should do it. It'll block it, it'll unblock it, it'll restart it. And we're going to start. Doesn't need to exist. That. We go here. Actually, first we go here, and we're gonna turn on the other camera, and then we're gonna switch this on a couple of times. Okay, so now it's going crazy again. So I hit this and it should fix it. Did not. functioning correctly. So it won't let me do it on one button unless I put a toggle in there. So I'm gonna have to do something similar to what this is doing. Let's copy this button. This is going to be up timer toggle. Yes. So where should the timer active button, active variable be? I mean, it has to be here, right? Just delete the wrong one. Okay. Should I put it here? This is if top timer is on. I needed the counting. Or do I still want it to do the counting? It might be useful to have that information. We'll build a new if statement. Current active is on. Check for the number of runs. Then reactivate the top timer button. Otherwise, we're not going to do anything. So only if a variable called current active is set to 1 is this button actually going to run. And I need to add another if statement to instantiate variable. Now this should actually never trigger because only 2 buttons are going to be looking at this. I'll put it there as a safety in case I ever click on that button. Actually, no, because I would click on this button. Okay, so when the... Oh. Timer. Table name. Redacted. Set 1. Then here okay. Okay, so we're going to get whether or not it's currently active. If it is currently active, okay, so it is currently active. Note decider. Change. Okay, so and it's gonna need a check like the other one has. And then we're gonna call this button. Okay. If it's currently active, switch it off. And stop it. These timers cannot be zero. Don't need that. Okay, so if it's active, turn it on, block the button, and then set the toggle switch to on. If it's otherwise, turn it on. I need these two to unblock the button. Otherwise, turn it on, unblock the button, call the button to actually make sure the button is turned back on, and then update the toggle switch. Okay. Am I missing any logic here? And then I can get around the check by having the constructor call this button and not the other one. Okay. Okay, so now I need that if statement back that I deleted. Current active is null. Make current active. So it would be null on its first call. That doesn't need to be there, that needs to be here. We actually want to put that right here. Set button. Oh, timer. Current active. 1. it's going to try to grab this, set current active T. If current active T is equal to nothing, and go back to the top timer and set current active to 1. And then pull the top timer amount again. And that'll pull current active T of 1. And then, if it's 1, we go here. If it's... Otherwise, we go here. I could do this with a switch statement. Oh, I got these selected. That's why. So that should work. This is one. Okay, in the default case, that is, it's not 1, it's not 0, we're going to make sure it's set. If it's the case that it's 1, if it's the case that it's 2, 0, okay, so now with handy dandy switch statement, we make this work. So we check for the current active, and then we put the current active variable in here. If it's active, we do this. We set it to 0, we block the button, we turn the toggle on the button red. If it's inactive, we set it to 1, we unblock the button, we call the button, and we turn the toggle on the button green. Otherwise, any other setting for that, we're going to set it to 1, and then we're going to call the button to turn the button on. Okay. Did it not trigger it? And it shouldn't switch off of that. Lovely, it works. Okay. Don't need this. Put this in. Okay, so now I have switches to control all of that. There's always something else to do. This was a problem that I noticed literally as I was booting up the stream, and now 2 hours into the stream, I've got the solution. The guy in the Sammy forums is disagreeing with me. You can do that with instance variables. I was using instance variables. No, you can't. Okay. Now that I have that top timer thing fixed, I'm comfortable with unlocking the music buttons here. Now the music buttons and the switches are things I'm gonna have to put on my Stream Deck, and I think I have enough buttons for all of this. One, and then so I need 3 for the music, 1 to toggle the timer on. So I'm gonna need to continue to implement my different. Okay, well I guess I can do that right now. So I use a program called Stream Deck. It looks like this, and it's a little physical box that is affixed to the corner of my desk right here, and it has 15 buttons on it, 3 rows of 5. And this is what it's currently set to. Then I can push a button on here, and I can swap and do various things. So this button here is going to be my soundboard, where I'm going to have 10 sounds loaded that I can push a button and fire off one of these sounds on stream. This is going to be avatar controls for things that I do for my avatar, like spinning me around or beaming me up or more complicated things like that. I'm going to have 10 presets of those right here so that I can manually control my avatar. These are things that I can do with Twitch. Changing the mode of chat, clearing chat. How much pain? Oh, my thinky parts are fine. Yep. These are the controls. This is, up until now, I've left it on this screen because the only thing that I use it for is for changing the scenes. And what these buttons actually do, it connects to OBS, it loads a scene. In this case, it loads the gaming scene, it unmutes the desktop audio, and it unmutes the microphone. So when I go back up and I go to the break screen, it loads to the break screen, it mutes the desktop audio, it mutes the microphone, and it unmutes the theme music, which is the music that you hear on the loading screen. So that's what these buttons do. This scene doesn't exist anymore, so I can delete that. And this is just a timer, right? So this is connected to a text file, and if I push it, it increments the timer by 1. Every time I push the button, it increments it by 1. If I press and hold the button, it decrements the counter by 1. If I press and hold it for a long time, it resets it to 0. And then if I press and hold it for a long time again, it brings it back to where it left off. Let's turn it all the way back to 0. And it stores that value in a text file. I don't know why it's going back up to 2. That value is actually being stored in a text file on the computer. As you see right there in my streaming assets folder. I can then grab that text file from OBS and increment a counter on screen, such as, say, a death counter. If I want to count how many times I've died in any particular part of a video game, I have a button right here where I can just push a button, bam, death counter on screen. I have it set up, but I don't have it implemented. So that is something I would want to implement. And these are the old programs that I needed to start up my stream. I now need one for VTuber, for my health bar, for Sammy, and those three. If I need anything else active. No, I would just need to add a few more to this. But I've got them all pinned to the taskbar down here, so I don't actually need this at all. So I can delete these and be fine with that. And I think I can delete most of this as well, because I don't really control Twitch from the Stream Deck. This one I'll have to look at. But this can definitely be Sammy Button. Yes, I'm just using the top to switch between pages now. And it's really just, everything says control except the sound. These are just buttons that swap between 5 different pages. And so I'm losing one row in order to add 4 pages. So all in all, I'm gaining functionality in what the Stream Deck can do by adding additional pages that I can just switch to with the push of a button. So now I've got this spot where I can put all my Sammy controls in. And I might need an additional Sammy controls page. Okay, so this is what I'm gonna do. Copy this here. And that'll give us 8 buttons per page. Will I need to do anything else besides those switches and the music? Okay, we're gonna call this Control switches. And so technically I can have three additional pages here. 6, 7, and 8. Copy this. Paste it here. Paste it here. Paste it here. And that is all going to take us to page 2. Paste this here. Copy this. Paste that there. I don't need page 8. I'm making a more visual way to do this, so I don't need the things at the bottom. Let me change this. Need a different color, blank one that's gonna stand out. I don't know if blue stands out enough. White probably. So we'll go with white. It's easy to pick white. That'll show me when I'm in a sub-menu when it turns white. This is gonna set itself to page 6, and it's called control switches. This is 7, which is current page. This sets itself to page 1. Okay. This is going to set itself to page 6. This sets itself to page 7. Music switch. This is going to set itself to page 6. Unexpectedly. Then this is... Okay, so now push these buttons and change what I'm doing. Right? So now when I go to the Sammy page, I've got these two sub menus here, one for control and one for music. And Sammy turns white to let me know I'm in Sammy, then I push the Sammy button again. So I can have 8 buttons here that are generic buttons for Sammy. I can have 8 buttons here that are specifically for the control switches, and then 8 buttons that are specifically for the music switches. And then for the soundboard, I can go with 10 buttons, or I could set up 2 subsections right here and give me 2 sets of 8 buttons, which would up that amount to 16. So we'll see how I feel with 10 things on my soundboard. And I may add additional things later. But it gets more complicated if I try to add more, because if I put 2 over here, 2 more pages over here, and then 2 more pages over here, so instead of 2 things of 8, which will bring me 16, I will have 3 things of 6, which only brings me to 18. So adding 2 additional pages only adds 2 additional sounds. Hello, kitty. The kitty is here. He wants the pets. Okay, he's wandered off. Okay, so I think we're gonna go with 10 right there. OBS controls is okay, Twitch controls is okay. Soundboard and avatar controls are both okay. And then we have a Stream Deck thing right here that is going to let me connect Stream Deck to Sammy. Data, any press Stream Deck action. Okay. Trigger pull data, action ID, pull data. Pulls information about the Stream Deck action that triggered this button, and it saves it to variables action ID and title. This is just a comment. agree to delete this text. Change in actions title. Please fill this variable with the action ID you want this button to manipulate. Really? Using the provided action ID, change the title of the series of random numbers. Okay, but then over here, I do have Sammy in this list now, right? Yeah. If I make a Sammy action here, action ID. Okay, so if I go here and there's a whole bunch of variables for about those. There should be. Just update action. Okay. All same. The bridge interface will let me know if it's connected. Okay, where's feedback? This is disconnected. I've got this stream deck plugin action known as action. Sounds a little confusing, yeah, because you just named everything action. Any triggers, okay. Okay, so I just need to set up triggers for this. So if I delete this, then we go to control switches. I'm going to need that. Timer toggle. Move this over here, bring this up. One. Two. I'm going to start with the mode 1 toggle. That's the wrong thing. That's the wrong thing. Edit triggers. There should be an Elgato trigger here. Elgato Stream Deck. Or pressed on the action ID. Which is this. Okay, now pressing this button should do the toggle. It's not doing the toggle. Did I not say this? Now it's doing the toggle. Lovely. No action ID specified in button mode 1 toggle. But it's listening for that button. Okay, now I'm in here. This is what it was complaining about. Now I can use this toggle, and it's not complaining. Okay, but that's not all I want this to do. I want this to update what's showing on my Stream Deck in real time. So when this button is red, the button on the Stream Deck should be red as well. Okay. All these medium to the middle. File that I can reference. Just like a big red background. Just like a big red background somewhere. Matrix code. So the question is, takes me to an icon library. Okay. So I can create the icon from the file. But I don't think I have any way of doing that unless I look at. Let's see if I can find where the Elgato is installed over here. I'm doing it on the other screen in case there is sensitive information that might pop up. this icon said call. Okay, let's see what I can find with the search. I didn't find anything in Elgato's. And what I'm hoping I can find is a folder that just has all of these icons in it, so I can continue to use the same kind that I'm using for everything else. But I don't know if that's going to be able to happen. I may end up just making generic red and red, blue, and green background. So, looks like a search here. Might be all I need right there. Okay, apparently you deleted that post. I'm not finding anything in the search. So I suppose I can use this. And set from file. Good pictures. Pop over here in case there's anything incriminating. Okay, so what I found out, it's in pictures, but it's not in the pictures file that is actually dedicated to Windows. No, on my Scratch drive, it duplicated all of this, and they were in that file. Like, make things easy, people, please. Please make things easy. There's no need to be so difficult. Layer from background. This over here. now, actually, get this down here. Now, when I scale this up to there, I know exactly how big these icons should be. In theory. One more time. Okay. Now we know exactly how big these icons should be. And when I zoom in and get the order over here correct, right there. Bam. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is just cut that. This, cut. And then here on this layer, find the one we want, which is this red one. This one needs to be a bit over. Okay, and then we're going to grab everything that's not red. That's gonna smear very badly, isn't it? Can I just do this? We're selecting red. Well, that doesn't work very well at all, does it? Kind of initially. It's nothing like having the original image. Which sucks. Okay, back to the other idea. Bam. Getting that's not going to work, then just getting a generic flat background color will work. I am sure. Wait. There. Now I want to make sure that this color matches this color. Let's go into Sammy. Have the hex value for that color right there. Bam. Red background. Waiting for the export. Export dialog, please. Export dialog, please. There we go. Red. SDBG, Stream Deck background. Okay, I'm going to Sammy and we go into here again. Here we get this color. Back in Photoshop. Export dialog. How fast is this? Green SDBG. Go back and Sammy into this one. The appearance. And we grab this color. Back into Photoshop. That color in. No layers are selected. What about now? Bam! There we go. Color. Then export dialog. Blue SDBG. Bam. Okay. I need a gray one. Yeah, gray works. Go here. Nope, I'm gonna go here. Coco. There. Layer. What did it just pop up? That. I have the, there it is. Stream Deck. This. Set from file. This the black. This the black. Gray. Set this black. Okay, now we are primed from the Stream Deck side of this thing. All of these buttons should be colored. Well, in fact, the switch of these buttons here can just be colored from the Stream Deck. Now, it may look like it's hard to read right there, but it is actually pretty easy to read over here as to what those buttons are going to do when I push them. Okay, now these color changing buttons. In Sammy, we need to add something right here. Let's see how these provide a local file path URL base 64 URI. Looking at mode 1 toggle. This. I want the Stream Deck over here. Maybe. Title. Windows. Why don't you just give me easy to do things? What? Red, green, blue, gray. Okay, so there's my colors. Then on, and we're going with icon. Now when I do this, changing the text on there, which we are successfully changing the text to on and off. That one I haven't updated yet. Okay. But we're not changing the color of the icon on the back. Ah, now we are. Here we go. Lovely. We did it. Now it does. Now it triggers both, and I can clearly see from my control panel over here what's on and what's off, and switch it very quickly on the fly. That's lovely, and that's very easy to implement across the other. That's not Sammy. Across the other buttons. I'm gonna copy this. One here. Paste it down. You grab the red one. Then I take the gray, set it right here. You know what helps? The right IDs. Each of those buttons have their own unique identification. and listeners. Right, I gotta set the trigger. And we're listening for that very specific idea. Bam. Okay, now when I push the button here, save. Bam, there they go. Randomly turn them on and off. Ha ha ha, whenever I want. That's how it should have those buttons set. And when the stream starts, they should colorize themselves properly. Okay, that's cool. I like that, actually. It reminds me of like the control ships and like the old Apollo things where you had the different buttons that you could push and they would change colors. 1960s technology in 2025. Colored buttons. Okay. So I'm having trouble with this. Custom icon. This. I mean, it should grab it and load it in, but it's not. I don't know why. If I set it to the file from here, it'll set it to gray. When I click it, it won't update it. I have to reset it to default to get it to update. But it should update it automatically. Okay. This one. Okay. So this should be as simple as just adding the trigger on here. Now, can swap 1 to 2 or to 3 from the push of a button. Back to 2, back to 3, back to 1, back to 3. And I can toggle those modes on and off. Bam, right there. Now the only other thing we need to do is go into top timer, set that up. Grab this. I'm gonna go in here. Right here. So I can turn the top, we'll set mode 1 on, and we'll turn the timer on. And just switch it. Set mode off, turn the timer off, and we switch it back to mode 3. Bam! All from my stream deck right here. And when we're on the stream deck, all of that is hidden under Sammy controls, right? So we've got the Twitch controls here that changes the scene. Sammy controls, we hit the control switches, and there are those switches. And then the music switches will be here. Lovely. All of the things that go in to be in a streamer that nobody wants to tell you about, because majority of the big streamers out there don't do any of this stuff themselves. Like the majority of there are a few that know how to do this stuff and what I'm doing here. The majority of them do not. They pay other people to do it for them. Okay. Okay, I'm happy with how this is squaring up right here. And now I know exactly how to integrate these buttons. Turn on 2, turn on the timer, it switches to 2. Turn 2 off, we'll turn off the timer, we'll switch it back to 3. Lovely. So not only have I built the control station that I needed to be able to manipulate this however I wanted, I've now put it on my stream deck where I don't have to open this thing up to do it. It automatically connects when the stream is going. Yay. Okay, so that's one of 2 decks. The other one that I wanted to do was the music. And I only need 3 buttons active on here. Start single, start loop, and stop music. So I wonder, like like I have a lot of stuff in control switches, so I know about needing this like that. But I only really have 3 things in music switches that I need. I haven't even started setting up the Patreon event yet, or Patreon itself. So I think we'll put off there. We'll put on and loop here. This is stop music. This is gonna be black. Middle at 9. And we're just gonna straight up set this to red. This is gonna be red. Single song. Black. This to red. Now we'll set that to blue. This is okay, so then I've got play a single song over here, or then music and stop music there. And this is where my previous song button could come into play. I could put previous and next on here. That would make sense. And all these need to do is push the appropriate button. There's no feedback or color changing on this. Start single song is here. Just add the Elgato trigger. Good to go. Start music loop. We add the Elgato trigger. Good to go. Music. Okay. Let's see if it works. I should save this. There we go. Let's see if it works. Okay. I also had to turn the loop on. stop music. Okay, these buttons are not updating. So I need to make sure that those music buttons are calling these over here. Because they're updating the mode, I had to push the button twice, but it's not calling this button to update the mode. Okay. Okay, I need to go back here. Look at this. So if it's calling here, this is a toggle. Okay, so all anything in here needs to be doing is triggering a button. And that is mode 1 toggle. Is the button name. Okay. Okay. Now, mode 1 is off. We start the music. Did not start the timer, which it needs to. I can start the timer right there. And then if I turn the music off, it shuts mode 1 off. And the timer shouldn't be switching back and forth now. And then I can play one song. And the timer is active, so it should swap. And the timer should always be on anyway. There we go, there's a swap. Look, and then I can stop the music. And when I stop the music, just turn it off and switch back to mode 3, and we're good. And the timer's not going to be switching anything, because everything is now these interconnected button calls. Nothing's calling anything directly. Yay. That took entirely longer than I was intending it to take. Okay. but it's done and connected, and now it's set up here. And now I know where the previous and next implementation on this is going. Oh, why is it switching? Why does it think mode 1 is active? Oh, because I accidentally switched mode 1 to active. Okay, we'll switch that back to mode 3. See? That? Right there? Oops, an accident set it to active. And it swapped, and I was able to go, okay, we'll turn that off, and we'll swap it back, and we're good. Which is exactly the functionality I did not have at the start of this stream 3.5 hours ago. Yes. Oh. I'm still having problems with that timer. And it may be, I think part of the problem is stop music in the music section. Here we go. There. So now when I call the music stop button, it's gonna deactivate the music selector. Okay. Let's double check and make sure the music still functions. So there's still a glitch in there for the song length, deciding okay, I guess that was a normal timer. But there's a problem with the song length that sometimes it switches the songs too early. Yeah, the timer's messed up again. So am I gonna have to switch the timer on and off every time I switch one of the other modes on and off? Why is it instantly switching? Hmm. This top timer is giving me so many problems. I can turn it off and the top won't switch. And then I can switch it manually. Hmm. I have to switch it to all before I can switch it to single song. Okay, and there's a toggle issue there. Because if I hit that twice, off is now turning it on instead of off. So I've got to make the off buttons force a mode instead of toggle. I put this one as forcing mode. So this is the issue right here. Okay. Fix. Toggles. Install. I'm a toggle. Each mode change. Okay, so these are my notes for what I'm going to do next time. Because the fucking timer's running again. And crazy out of control too. Okay, stop. I hit the stop button and it's still fucking going. This timer is giving me all types of problems. Stop the timer. Not active, so it shouldn't be switching anything. Okay, I'm gonna have to do a lot of research on this timer, because this timer by itself is not working or accurate, and these buttons tend to call themselves, I've noticed. So yeah. Anyway, that's gonna be for next time. We will be back on Monday with maybe another stream here of fixing some stuff and fixing this up. But let's see who's live that we can raid right now. Who's doing some stuff that we can throw a raid at? Hum. B is streaming, so we will throw a raid over B's way. Looks like she's playing Ratchet and Clank, probably going for platinum, because she does that. So yeah, we're gonna raid V Vixen. She's awesome, and I will be back on Monday with Played Up with Lady and some more fixing things. All right, so let's get the raid going, and I will catch you guys on the flip side. Nari out.